He had everything: power, wealth, control, but he could not buy peace. The crowd hated him. He hated himself more. And on one ordinary morning, a single moment would decide whether he stayed lost forever or escaped the life he had built with his own hands. Because sometimes the greatest destruction is not fire from heaven. It is the slow death of a soul that no longer remembers how to live. And that same choice still stands before us today. The city of Jericho rose from the desert like a jewel of survival. Palm trees swayed in the dry wind. Water flowed through ancient channels, feeding gardens and orchards. Caravans arrived daily, camels heavy with spices, silks, and gold. Merchants shouted prices. Coins clinked endlessly. Soldiers watched from stone towers. Jericho was rich, not by accident, but by design. It stood on one of the most important trade routes in the region. Everything passed through here, and everything was taxed. Above the marketplace, Roman banners snapped in the wind. The shadow of the Roman Empire covered everything, and beneath those banners worked men who collected wealth not for God, but for Caesar. And among them was one man who had risen higher than them all. His name was Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus was small, short in height, but towering in authority. He was not just a tax collector, he was the chief, which meant he did not merely collect taxes, he controlled the collectors. He decided the amounts, he decided who paid more, he decided who suffered. His house stood larger than most. Its walls were smooth stone, its floors were clean, its tables were never empty. Servants moved quietly through the rooms, and yet Zacchaeus often ate alone. He could hear the whispers outside: traitor, thief, Roman dog. Sometimes stones struck his gate, sometimes curses filled the night air, but never friendship, never love. He had built walls of wealth, and now he was trapped behind them. He had not started this way. Once Zacchaeus had been just a boy, running through Jericho's streets, laughing, dreaming. He had known hunger, he had seen poverty, he had promised himself one thing: I will never be powerless again. So when Rome offered opportunity, he took it. At first, it was survival, then it became comfort, then it became greed. Every coin hardened him, every protest annoyed him, every cry of injustice became background noise. He told himself, this is how the world works, this is necessary, this is success. But success has a cost, and Zacchaeus paid with something he did not realize he was losing: his soul. One morning, an old man stood before him. His hands trembled. I cannot pay, the man whispered. Zacchaeus did not look up. Then your property will be taken. Please, the man begged. It is all my family has. Zacchaeus paused. For a moment, something inside him stirred. A memory, a younger version of himself, afraid, powerless. But he crushed the feeling. He stamped the order. Next. The old man collapsed in silent defeat, and Zacchaeus felt nothing. Or at least that is what he told himself. That night, in a small, broken home, the old man knelt. He raised trembling hands toward heaven. God, he whispered, do you still see us? His voice cracked. Have mercy, even on him. Not revenge, not justice, mercy. A prayer for the man who had destroyed him. And heaven listened. Days later, rumors spread through Jericho like wildfire. He is coming, the teacher, the healer, the one who speaks with authority. Crowds gathered at the gates, men, women, children, all waiting, all hoping. And walking toward the city was a man unlike any other, Jesus Christ. He did not wear armor, he did not carry weapons, and yet his presence felt more authority than kings. The air itself felt different around him, alive, watching, waiting. Inside his large house, Zacchaeus heard the noise. He moved to the window. He saw the crowds. He heard the name, Jesus. He had heard the stories, sinners forgiven, the broken restored, the lost found. Something inside him stirred again, a question he had buried for years. Could there still be mercy for someone like me? He grabbed his cloak and stepped outside. The streets were packed, bodies pressed shoulder to shoulder, everyone reaching, everyone desperate to see. Zacchaeus pushed forward, but no one moved. They saw him, and they blocked him deliberately. Cold eyes, hard faces. You don't belong here. He was too short to see over them, too hated to pass through them, too late to turn back. For a moment, he stood frozen. The old Zacchaeus would have ordered soldiers, forced his way through. But something had changed. He could not command this moment. He could only choose. Up ahead stood a sycamore tree, its branches stretched over the road. It was undignified, embarrassing, a wealthy chief tax collector climbing like a child. The crowd would laugh, mock him, but dignity had never given him peace. So he ran, and he climbed, hands gripping rough bark, heart pounding. He pulled himself upward, higher, until finally he could see. And below him, Jesus walked closer, step by step, until suddenly he stopped. Silence fell, and then he looked up, directly at Zacchaeus, not past him, not through him, at him, seeing everything. The greed, the shame, the loneliness, the hidden pain. And then Jesus spoke, "Zacchaeus." The sound of his name broke something inside him. "Hurry, come down." A pause. "I must stay at your house today." Not accusation, not condemnation, invitation. Mercy had found him. The crowd erupted. "Why him? He's a sinner. He betrayed us." They wanted justice, punishment, revenge. But Jesus chose mercy, because mercy does what justice alone cannot. It restores. Inside his large house, Zacchaeus stood trembling. This man, this holy man, sat at his table, not as judge, but as guest. Zacchaeus could barely breathe. Years of guilt rose to the surface. All the faces, all the suffering, all the wrong he had done. He fell to his knees. "Lord," his voice broke, "half of everything I have I will give to the poor." Tears filled his eyes. "And anyone I have cheated I will repay 4 times over." This was not obligation. This was surrender. He was not losing wealth. He was escaping prison. Jesus stood, his voice calm, powerful. "Today, salvation has come to this house." Not tomorrow, not someday, today, because Zacchaeus had made a choice to stop running, to stop hiding, to climb toward mercy, and mercy had met him there. Outside, the same city remained, the same streets, the same crowds, but Zacchaeus was no longer the same man. He walked differently, not with pride, but with peace. He returned wealth, he restored lives, he healed wounds he had created, not perfectly, but sincerely. For the first time in his life, he was free, not from Rome, but from himself. Lesson 1. Prosperity without gratitude destroys the soul. Zacchaeus gained everything the world could offer, but it left him empty. Wealth is not evil, but wealth without gratitude becomes a prison. Lesson 2. Spiritual drift happens slowly. He did not become lost overnight. It happened choice by choice, compromise by compromise. The same can happen to anyone, even today. Lesson 3. The power of intercession. Somewhere someone prayed, not for justice, but mercy, and mercy came. Never underestimate the power of prayer for someone who seems beyond saving. Lesson 4. Mercy moves faster than judgment.
Jesus did not wait for Zacchaeus to become perfect. He met him where he was. Mercy always moves toward the willing heart. Lesson 5. One decision can change everything forever. Zacchaeus could have stayed in his house. He could have ignored the moment, but he chose to climb, and that choice saved his life. What are you holding on to that is destroying your peace? What walls have you built around your heart? What if mercy is closer than you think? And what if one decision today could change everything? If this story moved you, reflect on it. Share it with someone who needs hope. Subscribe to this channel for more cinematic Bible stories, and comment below which story you want to see next.